Welcome to the Antic Show. While you are here, please hit that subscribe button, join our page, hit the little bell so you know when we upload. We got some really cool conversations coming up with some really cool people. Now, let me just show some love to my sponsors and let's get this rolling, baby. MobileWash. The future of car washes is now, ladies and gentlemen. Download the only on-demand car wash app and your car wash specialist will be on their way to you in minutes, whether you're at home chilling or at work hustling. And make sure you use my promo code OKAPE without any spaces to get your car wash discount now. Tristar Worldwide Freight Brokerage, loads in all 50 states, South America, India, the Philippines, 20 offices in Armenia, and they continue to grow. And they are huge supporters of the community and entertainers like myself. Tristar, join the movement. Camera Productions, positivity for all your photography needs, bringing you professionalism and a very fun personality to work with, specializing in luxury weddings, lifestyle photography, and luxury real estate productions. Call your favorite photographer right now. Lights, Camera Productions, and action. New York Life Insurance. Look, life is crazy and full of surprises. That's why you prepare for the absolute worst while planning for the future. For all your life insurance and retirement planning needs, call my boy Siamanto at New York Life Insurance. All right, welcoming Mr. Gor Kirakosian to the podcast. Thanks for being here, bro.
Hi. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. That's Narek. You know Narek? He's the laptop.
The guy, I want to become that eventually.
Narek is kind of out of the Armenian entertainment world, so I'll tell him Gor Kirakosian. He's one of the best current Armenian directors of our time, I like to say. Some of the most memorable Armenian films come from him. Not only directing, but writer too.
I participate a lot. A lot of the movies that I have done are kind of stories that came from me. I mean, I didn't write the whole script by myself. I had writers with me, but the concepts and the stories are the ones that kind of came out of me, and it was stories that I wanted to tell.
Definitely, your films definitely stand out more from most other Armenian films I've seen, because I feel like if anyone's bringing something new to the table, it's been you. And I feel like you're actually making an effort to bring, okay, let's try this now. Let's try this. Hasn't been done. Let's try this. I felt that with Lost and Found in Armenia.
Yes. Even my first film, The Big Story in a Small City, which was a topic where like Armenians never approached. It was about an Armenian funeral, you know. It's a little bit dark comedy,
right.
But I had a hard time shooting it because people were even my actors and crew members were a little bit scared about when we had coffins in the set and things like that, because Armenians are very superstitious when it comes to these kind of things. Yeah, nobody wanted to get into the coffin. Nobody wanted to lie down and do that role. And my godfather, Antic, who is a very famous actor, when I was having a hard time finding an actor, he said, "You know what? I'll do it. Don't worry." So it kind of came through, and I think it came out really fun. So like having the most famous Armenian actor, but only having one scene of a dialogue, and the rest of the film he's just laying down in the coffin.
Right. So he basically took a job for one of the easiest roles he ever had to play.
He knew what he was doing. He's like, "Oh, I'll do lay down."
He thought it was the easiest job. He thought. That's why he took it. But it was actually the hardest one, because when we were shooting it, he never thought that he is almost in every scene. And he has to be laying down and not breathing. Yeah, because when you lie down and breathe, your stomach moves. And so every time when I was calling action, I was saying, okay, hold your breath and action. So it wasn't easy. I didn't even know that when you lie down and you just lay there and your stomach moves.
It's still some motion.
I noticed it in the monitor when I was shooting the movie. So it was very hard for him. Wow. And he couldn't get out because from a lot of scenes when we stopped, he couldn't get out of the coffin because I didn't want his clothes to get dirty, even his shoes, because when you lay down a dead person in a coffin. The shoes are brand new shoes most of the time. They don't have any dirt in the so I never let him to come out of the coffin, so his shoes cannot get dirty.
Did you take all that into consideration before doing the movie, or was it kind of like coming to like, oh my god, his shoes have to be like he wouldn't have walked in these shoes?
We talked a lot of I researched a lot of things. I kind of funny thing, when I was doing the pre-production of Big Story in a Small City, I used to find out what kind of funerals are happening in Armenia, and I used to just crash funerals to see what kind of things are going on. Sorry, yeah.
You're taking notes.
You weren't a funeral crasher, bro.
I kind of wanted to stay to the traditions of that time, how the funerals are. It's not the same. Right now it's not the same, but because at that time, they brought the body to the house, and the viewing was at the house. Everybody came to see the relatives at the house, and then they had to
stay there a few days, I think.
I think it's the body stays there a couple of days before the burial. Yeah, so crazy. And the whole process of a lot of apartments in Armenia are very small, and the hallways that you bring it's buildings, so they don't put the coffin or the dead person in the elevator, so they bring it through the stairs, and the stairs are very narrow, so and all that is in my movie, but I had to see it with my own eyes to understand it is a complicated thing happening. And I kind of showed that in a way where you see humor in it.
Right. Angela Sarafyan was in that movie.
She's in the Big Story?
No. That was Lost and Found.
That was Lost and Found in Armenia.
Okay, that's right. Angela was in Lost and Found. And Lost and Found was also Jamie Kennedy. Was that your first time working with a non-Armenian actor?
Yes.
That was an Armenian film, especially. I think that was something.
That was my second film. Yeah, that was my second film. I wanted to do something very original, and me and my dad talked about what kind of because Big Story was very original film, and we wanted to do a second one very original too, but we wanted to do it not just an Armenian movie, just how can we include an American actor, or half English, half Armenian movie, something like that we could shoot it still in Armenia but have some international release with it. So that was the first idea for the second movie, and then talking about it, we came to a concept: how about an American falls into one of Armenian villages and doesn't know what's going on? So that's how the idea of the script came. And slowly I showed the script to very interesting people, to casting directors, producers, things like that. And one led to another, and we casted Jamie Kennedy and Angela. Angela at that time was kind of starting.
She was kind of rising up. Yeah.
And I really, there was the casting session, when she came in, she kind of stole the role from all the other candidates.
I would imagine. She's super talented, dude. Super talented. Jamie Kennedy, was it weird for him in Armenia? Like, was he? It
was because most of the time we shot in the villages. Kind of, I had this concept where in the movie I don't say which village it is. I kind of say that it's on the border of Armenia and Turkey. I kind of had a vision how I wanted the village to look, but I couldn't find that village. So the movie is actually shot in 16 different villages.
16 different villages?
Yes. So it's like I specifically went find the locations that I wanted to have that look that I wanted. So it's actually 16 different villages, and for Jamie, because we were shooting in villages, no internet. So he's walking around with his iPad trying to get internet, and it's like he's bored because he doesn't have internet. He wants to think, but I think at the end he said he kind of liked that because he kind of started enjoying something else, like kind of started finding other stuff to do besides just being on his iPad.
Right. How long was the entire process?
The process of the filming?
The entire film.
The process of making the film, or
shooting
process was actually 6 weeks. 6 weeks, 30 days, I think.
It's not bad at all.
That's so impressive. Close to 30 days, something like that.
So there's obviously there was a dramatic difference between like shooting in the city and shooting like most of the movie was shot in like villages, so like
Yeah, we had couple of we actually the only thing that we shot that was in the city was the airport scene.
Yeah,
which is kind of not in the city at all.
but going between like Big Story and Lost and Found, would you prefer shooting in villages in like Greenlands kind of like, or in the city is probably more convenient, I would imagine?
I actually like shooting in the city because what happened was I did 5 films. The first one was we shot it in the city, and then it was Lost and Found, then it was Ticket to Vegas, then it was The Night's Move, and those 3 were mostly shot outside of the city. It was in villages, mountains, I know, it's like weird places where we just, eating dust and on like always in dirt and that kind of thing. So when I did the last movie, the Honest Thieves, when I was writing the script, I was like, hell no, I'm not leaving the city. So I wrote every scene to be in the city. So I just come out of my apartment and just walk to the set in 5 minutes and shoot it. Yes. So yeah, but it's been a great experience because I have learned how to figure out there's different locations have very different problems that you always come to, and you have to figure out things how to make it. As much as you go location scouting, on the day of the shoot, there's always problems that you have to figure out. That's one of the things that in movie making is, getting problems and trying to fix them. But it was I'm glad that I did those films because I have learned a lot about filmmaking.
Do you still feel like you're a student of filmmaking? Do you feel like you're still? I mean, this last film, you actually told me before that just you felt a lot more on another level on this last film. That's got to be due to like all the troubleshooting in the past films and whatnot. I would imagine like the village was just full of I would imagine a lot of power generators for lights and things. So
you figured that out early, and you take a generator with you all the time. Every
that's
place.
Gotta be a hassle.
And you have to park the generator far because you don't want to hear that annoying sound in when you're recording sound.
Exactly.
So. I mean, I would say I learn on every project because every project is different. It brings different things, and I think if anybody says that they're done learning, I think it's end of their career. And I think there's a lot of things I still need to do, and by that process I need to learn a lot of things because I do want to in the future do different movies, and I think. As much as I go, I try to do a harder movie, something that I haven't done before.
Challenge yourself.
Yeah. So, and by that, I think you have to learn more stuff, how to, learn and be more creative. Besides going to film school, and besides watching a lot of movies and, trying to steal things and understand how they did it, I kind of experimented a lot too with other stuff before, started to make movies. Not all, I would say none of my movies are perfect, are not the ones that I had in my head. I think they're mostly like 70-80% of what I kind of wanted to do. It's not 100%. They're all close. I think the last movie, The Honest Thieves, is the only one that I feel is close to like somewhere 90% of what I wanted to make it. And I think all the directors have this issue because there's always problems, there's always budget issues, and there's always one thing that you think on a piece of paper, and then you go on set and you have like 100 people working for you and trying to recreate this is a whole different game, but experience is good too. I think I have learned a lot by experience, but before coming to set, I kind of try to educate myself how movies are made, and because of that, I think my first film had a very good success with awards and with audiences and things. And I would say before my first film, I did a short called a 15-minute movie called I Hate the Story of Romeo and Juliet. And I kind of tried to do something different, and probably I was trying to do something artsy, something unique, and I kind of failed at it. The movie is, I think when I watch it now, it's pretty bad. And that was the lesson that I learned, that never never do something that is not you.
Just to get something
Yeah. Maybe sometimes you think that, oh, you have the greatest idea because if you do it this way, and people will think that you're a genius. No, it doesn't work that way. Is when you're trying to do something else that it's not you, most of the time it doesn't work. And after that, when I kind of accepted that and I learned and I started doing what actually comes out of me, what's my vision and what's my humor, what's my technique that I kind of want to tell this kind of a story, it worked. But thank God that I learned that when I was I was young.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think you'll be going back and looking at like Honest Thieves and Lost and Found in Armenia and feel the same way in 20 years because once you're kind of established, it's a little bit different. But yeah, it's funny you said you got to do projects that are more like you. So you definitely define mostly as a comedic, a comical filmmaker because you're heavily, one of the founding fathers of the Demk Show, longest running Armenian comedy team that ever existed. And all your movies seem to have been comedies. Are you stuck on, not stuck, but is that your obsession? Because I know you personally, and I know comedy is very much a big part of your life, but do you want to experiment with other genres? I do. Actually, I do. I wasn't, first I wanted to, when kind of I figured out I should tell stories that it kind of came out of me and how I think. In the beginning, I just wanted to stay in that section because I just didn't want to go somewhere again and make a mistake. But right now, kind of after doing 5 different films, and besides them being comedies, some of them have serious issues, topics. They're not just comedies, you know? And I feel now I am ready to do something else, and I do have passion of doing some unique stories that are not comedy. Interesting.
Yeah, I do. In the future, I would like to do a movie about like World War II.
Wow.
Maybe a movie about Armenian genocide or a historical Armenian film. There's a genre that I love. It's one of my favorite genres, but I never approached it. It's suspense and thriller, and I think by making all these films and watching a lot of those kind of genre movies, I think I right now if I get the chance to make a movie like that, I think I could succeed with it.
I believe you could too, and definitely your movies have definitely left an impact on our generation, especially. But what's interesting that I found interesting is I feel like, especially for like Armenian films, I feel like we're very limited in the genres that we put out. You know what I mean? We are we have a great sense of humor. We all know that Armenians have a great sense of humor. Like we define ourselves with how good our sense of humor is. We're convinced that we have the best sense of humor in the world. I'm pretty sure we do, but. Do you there's not much like of an action, you know what I mean? There's not much of like you don't see like dramedies and things like this. Is there a reason for that? Like I know we got into like the drama stuff in like TV serials, like the series, like remember there was like so it's like really, really comedy or really, really mafia, like, you know what I mean? So like, why is that? Why are we stuck in this?
We are stuck because we don't have the audience for it. Sure. I believe like we're not, the Armenian audience are not ready to watch an Armenian zombie movie. Because for them it will look really ridiculous.
It would probably be a very funny film again. It would be back to comedy.
Even if you try to do a serious movie, they will not take it seriously.
Because there are very serious movies that people have tried, and they're funnier than a lot of comedies you've seen. I mean, it just doesn't. I don't.
We're kind of bound.
It's not working. They're not doing it right.
What happened was because the Armenian film industry kind of when it started when it was Soviet Union times.
Right.
I would say 99.9% of our films that we have are comedies or drama. We don't have any other genre. We don't have any suspense, thrillers, or family, even in family movies, and because of that, our audiences got used to watching those kind of movies. I mean, it's the topics are not like again like if you do a zombie Armenian movie, the topics are very unusual for Armenians to
it's
watch.
strange.
You
It's
know,
strange to even
like,
hear
or
it,
even
like,
or like some kind of an alien sci-fi movie if you do it with the Armenian topic. It's like people, yeah. You already when I say it, you start to laugh about it because it's very unusual topic. But I think slowly, if you start doing things like that, I think you could change it.
Of course.
But because we don't have so much audience, and because of that, our movie budgets are very low, and to do like that kind of a movie, like a historical movie or a sci-fi movie, you need a lot of money because you have to recreate a lot of things, and there's no investors to put that kind of money because they believe they will never get that money back.
That's right.
And I would imagine on the topic of like a zombie movie, right? Like it would just end up being a zombie movie that happens to be directed by an Armenian. Like I wouldn't think it would incorporate any Armenian like values or things in that movie. It would just
like imagine like zombies in Republic Square in Armenia, like by opera. You know what I mean?
I think
it could make a hell of a comedy though.
Yeah, it could
exactly.
something
parody,
like Shaun of the Dead kind of style movie. But like even like 5 years ago, when my son was born, a unique feeling came to me where like I wanted to do something for the Armenian kids. And when I researched, I noticed that we don't have ever done a movie about Armenian fairy tales. We don't have that. Right. Even that. Like we don't have family movies like like E.T. things like that. We don't have it. Like Pirates of the Caribbean movies like that. It doesn't exist in the Armenian.
Just for fun movies, kind of.
Yeah. So I kind of thought about it and came up with a really interesting idea of how about I tried to do something. The first Armenian fairy tale movie, and I actually came up with a really good concept with and two of my friends helped me. We wrote the script. It's like based on Honest Thieves stories, right. Fairy tales, but not exactly the stories. It's more about a modern father and son who have communication issues because they're always on their gadgets, phones and iPads and computers and things like that, fall into this fairy tale world that Honest Thieves created with his old characters and stuff like that. Yeah. And now they don't have their gadgets. Now they need to communicate and help each other to get out of this world. Right. So I've been trying to do that film for like this couple of years, trying to raise money. But because it's a little bit expensive movie, because I have to recreate the whole world of fairy tale, I'm having a hard time finding the money of this movie. But I'm still working on it, and I believe when you're passionate about something, at the end you will get the results.
Absolutely. And it's funny we talked about that because I take it back. We actually do have now a fun Armenian movie. Honest Thieves is exactly that, and I believe you've told me that your motivation was let's just have a fun movie that people go bust out some popcorn and just enjoy a fun movie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Honest Thieves we filmed last year. I was in Armenia with them. It was a hell of a project for me. It was a hell of a time, unforgettable chapter of my life. But it's exactly that. It's a robbery by robbers who shouldn't be doing any kind of robberies. You know what I'm saying? And how do you think people are going to respond to this? Because it's very different. Like there has never been a film like this in Armenia.
It was something that again I wanted to do a movie about about thieves and who don't know anything about robbery. Exactly. It's like a fun heist movie. It's like kind of a Ocean's 11 version of Armenian version of the Ocean's 11, but the bad version out of it. Bad version, where they don't know anything about doing robberies or doing heists. Just when it came to me, it just I sat down and just brainstormed by myself and wrote the concept, the storyline, and then the group of my friends who are part of the Dem Show, I told them this concept, and they really liked the idea. Yeah, and we sat down and wrote the script. And my idea was, I wanted to do a movie where it's just a fun movie. It's one of those, you just go sit down, enjoy, laugh, eat your popcorn, and you go home. I just wanted to give some like 90 minutes of entertainment to the audience, where just they just come and forget the other problems that they have in the world and just enjoy a movie.
You're not gonna put an attachment to it, put some emotional attachment.
No.
Moral
think
to
about
the story,
it.
right? You don't expect
There
it.
is a little bit, not like It's
Sure,
not
not like the
have
last 5 minutes of a Full House episode, right? With the piano.
I'm very happy how the movie came out, because I think it's all the movies that I have done. I feel that way. It's the best one, and I hope the next one will be the other best one. But
you just keep topping your own best.
Yeah, because every time I try to do something different. Even if you look at my films, from Big Story to the Honest Thieves, all of them are comedy genres, but they're very different. They have different genres in it. They're not same style of story. There is maybe a stylistic version of how I direct the movie, but they have sub-genres in them where they're not the same.
Like, it's not like slapstick comedy where someone hits him and the guy flies.
No. Even that is like the Honest Thieves is more like an adventure comedy, where Big Story is more like a dark comedy, and Lost and Found is more like fish out of the water kind of comedy.
For sure. Besides Jamie Kennedy, you did the Russian film Ticket to Vegas. Yes. How do you say that in Russian?
Bilet na Vegas.
That was a big hit. That movie was a big hit, and you worked with Danny Trejo on this one.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Oh, that's the guy in
Machete
who had his turtle.
His machete.
Didn't he also have a part in Breaking Bad or something like that? His head was on like a turtle.
Yes.
Yeah,
like that.
I don't know why. That's my memory of him.
When Hank has to go, like they switches a police department or something. He goes somewhere else, and he's like, he's top notch. Is it different than working with Armenian actors? Like, is there a noticeable difference, or are you already kind of used to working with your own people, or is it kind of like you're working outside of your comfort level, or?
I don't see any much difference, because in that movie I kind of worked with Russian actors and American actors on that movie, because 85% of that movie was shot here in the States, and 15% was shot in Russia. It was because they win a lottery, and they come to Vegas to get the money, and then somebody steals their ticket. Now they're in an adventure to find their ticket, and the ticket goes from one hand to another. So it's like kind of very adventurous, funny movie. I think I would say probably because like working with Danny Trejo, because he has done so much films, he knows how the film system works and the relationship of actors and directors and what they want and how they want it, things like that. It's more easier to communicate, or you could just say a simple thing and he will get it right away. Something like that.
So it's more experience level instead of Armenian versus Russian or.
And even Russians actors have more experience than the Armenian, because they get more gigs, and they're in more films and stuff like that. Like simple things, like sometimes where I get an actor who hasn't had the experience of being in front of a camera. They don't know what hitting a mark is. I have to put tapes on the floor for them so they know where to come stand exactly, so it could be perfectly
more micromanaging
in the frame, things like that. Like if they have done it many times, they already know how to do that. Things like that.
When, like, for example, my next thing is, look, my favorite stand-up comedian of all time is Sinbad. Like, he's my first.
I wasn't expecting that. I didn't
Sinbad
even know.
My favorite stand-up comedian.
I didn't even know.
Wait, what is that?
What's a Sinbad? The youngsters. What's a Sinbad?
I told you I'm out of this world.
Sinbad
was a very funny comedian and actor in the 90s.
Late 80s, early 90s, 90s-ish. You wouldn't believe this. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't believe it, but it'll be a little bit bizarre. But we used to watch Sinbad as a family. We used to watch Sinbad, bro. Like, we used to sit our whole family. We used to watch Sinbad.
Didn't he have a sitcom show too?
He did.
Something
I believe
like
he had
that,
a few.
right?
He had
But
a
I
few
remember
things.
from
And then he was like in
movies.
Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then
There was a movie with Macaulay Culkin.
yeah. I think it was like the rich kid type of thing. Yeah.
Richie Rich, something like that.
Maybe or something.
Blank Check.
Blank Check. There you go. I'm dying to
Also,
see
Good
if
Burger. I'm looking up here like he's also in.
do you
Good
see
Burger.
what I just wanted? Do you recognize his face?
I'm
even?
looking at him. I don't.
Let me see if you're looking at the right Sinbad.
Yeah,
man.
he is.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So his
The right Sinbad.
I not intentionally, but there's when you look up to someone as like, okay, this guy's the best for me. You kind of genuinely have this thing to like kind of do what he does or kind of mimic, not even mimic, not steal, but like I liked what he was doing. I want to be able to kind of recreate that, for like the Armenian people and kind of like I love this stuff. Do you find yourself trying to follow the steps of any of your favorite directors, or do you have any role models where you're like, I want to be just like him, like, you know what I mean?
I think that's a wrong way to think about it, because if you start to copying people, then you're not it's not you.
Oh,
It's
not
just
copy,
being-
more like I'm very much inspired by Sinbad.
There's
Sinbad
there's many directors that I get I get always inspired with. Yeah, when I was young, I got inspired by Guy Ritchie, David Fincher, Scorsese, even Spielberg, Tom Tykwer, Emir Kusturica. There's so many directors that I kind of stole things. And I will tell you a funny story that happened with me. I did get a chance to meet Guy Ritchie in my life.
No way, dude.
Yeah. I did give him my big story in small city film.
Wow.
It was at that time.
That's cool.
And he watched it.
No way.
He watched it, and we met again. And
What a guy.
He's the guy.
And funny thing was, he really loved it, and he was asking me, how did you shoot that shot? There was a shot.
Get outta here.
Yeah, he asked
Oh,
me.
wow.
He asked me how I did that shot, and it was actually pretty well done, because it was a ball rolling to somebody, and it was done with graphics. It was not a real ball. And it was done so well that he didn't even get it. That it was done with graphics, and he really loved that shot that I did. And he said, "You know what? I'm gonna steal that shot from you."
Wow.
And I said to him, "You know what? You definitely could, because I stole so many things from you. You know."
Yeah.
That's how.
And he said, all the things that I stole from, all the things that you stole from me, I probably stole it for somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's the concept is, I read something. It says when you steal one thing, it's plagiarism, but when you steal a bunch of things, it's more like research.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. There's a saying, right? Steal like an artist. Don't copy. But there's a big difference between copying and stealing. Stealing would be.
But when you steal something, you have to add your touch
Value
to
to
it,
it.
your
Yeah,
touch to
yeah.
it, your version
Exactly.
out of it.
Yeah.
Because everything is with evolution. If you watch it, they made movies in the late 1800s, and they're making movies here. There's so many same formats of shots and things like that. You could say that person copied, but you see an evolution, a different version out of it,
Yeah.
So if you put your touch to it, then it's yours.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
I feel like that's a loaded question.
It's a
yeah.
big question,
Yeah.
but let me tell you. I hate these.
I
kinds
do
of
I do
questions.
have a favorite movie of all time.
I hate these questions usually because it's so hard to really pick one. But if you were to do jail time for the rest of your life,
I get it.
and you could only have one DVD, like for the rest of your life, this is the only DVD. Like, what is that? Have you heard of it?
That one.
VHS thing.
Yeah, VHS.
I'm not gonna look up that one.
You could only have one movie for the rest of your life. Which movie is it?
Fight Club.
Wow,
Love
dude.
that film.
Yeah, Fight Club
Wow.
is my favorite movie of all time.
Wow. I didn't see that coming, bro.
I wonder, like, obviously the follow up is like, not
No,
just
I
why,
have-
but
Why? No.
Why is the simple-
Fight
I think-
Club is a
I-
damn good
No,
movie.
I
why-
think it's
I've cried.
when
The
I
only
watched,
one you take to jail.
Yeah, I'll take that to jail. I think it's one of the movies that I've watched the most, and I think every time I watch it, I see something new, and I think the way he did that movie, he's a genius, and I feel like you could see the 100 years of filmmaking in that movie.
Wow.
He did something amazing.
Jack's
There's like
Revenge.
there's a bunch of movies that are my favorite. There's like if you said the top 5, I probably would name those, but Fight Club is the first.
So it's interesting that it's not a comedy too. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
a funny thing is
Yeah.
the movies that I like to watch, that really like to watch, that I enjoy, are not comedy. Are
too.
like more like a little bit suspense thriller in that format. You know?
me too. Definitely, it's weird because like as a even like my musical taste is dark.
Yeah. I think all the movies that I recommended you to watch are nothing to do with comedy.
Yeah, I don't think you recommended a single one. Dude, this guy prepared me a list of, I was like, recommend some movies. He's like, okay, here we go. IMDb. Ready? And like 6 out of 10 are like Korean films with subtitles right now. I don't know where, how did you even get into that world, bro? How did you?
I don't know. I just
And the ones I've seen have been incredible, bro. They're incredible movies. You would never even imagine the movies that they're putting out, bro.
yeah, I got into Korean movies probably this past 4 or 5 years. I was kind of bored and I wanted to watch something interesting. So I kind of on the internet I typed best international films, something like that, like what's going on around at this time, you know, best international films in 2015.
Like, what's popping right
Yeah.
now?
So I came to a weird website where, you know, it's called, I think the website called Film Rejects, something like that. I came to a website and then they had really interesting reviews of very international movies. And a lot of them were Asian movies. And I was like, this is very interesting. This is very interesting. When I was reading the synopsis of the movie, you know? And I kind of started watching it and one led to another. And then I got interested by what did this director do else, you know? What kind of movies does he, what did he do before than this movie? I think one of the first one was the Hard Day, the one that I told you to watch.
Yeah.
That was the first one that I really got. I mean, I watched Old Boy and all those stuff before, but that I really got into the Korean movies, and then I watched
Was Old Boy
Train to Busan, the one that I
That
told.
movie is awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Have you seen Train to Busan?
No.
Dude,
I'll look it up.
you have
It's
to
actually a
see
Korean zombie movie.
Yeah, bro.
Wow, that sounds.
It's the best zombie, bro.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the best zombie movies ever made.
It's a modern day, right? This one
a
2016.
few years,
Okay.
probably a few years
Yep.
old. It's a
gotta
very
check it
like it's a very like zombie movie in like a claustrophobic setting. You get what I'm saying? Like imagine a zombie apocalypse like in a train. Imagine. So like they did a really good. I actually made my dad watch that too. He still swears that by that movie. Like Train to Busan is a good movie.
He has his own.
And look, it's like, and you don't need to know much English. You can even mute it and kind of know what's going on.
It's
But
really good.
I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but man, that movie ended so good. Like it like the way the movie starts and the way it unfolds, the movie has a huge impact on you emotionally, bro. And like I don't think Walking Dead's been able to kind of get that feeling out of me or anything, but they did a really damn good job, man.
And I think one of the other best zombie movies that I've seen is the Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, that I really like. The one that they get locked in a big mall. I don't know if you see that.
I haven't seen it.
When I saw that, I really enjoyed it. It got stuck with me. I think he did a really good job on that movie.
It's so unfortunate that Walking Dead took such a. It started, it was really good.
It started really good
for a few seasons, man.
Yeah, and I think, they kind of there was a whole thing with the writers' strike and things like that, and after that it kind of fell apart. And there's like I still follow it because I really like the concept, but there's episodes that are so boring. And there's episodes that are so great.
Yeah.
And
I forgot which season it was, man. Like
the third
like
one, that was the worst one. The third one, the fourth one was like half of third one. The last half of the third one and the beginning of the fourth one is the worst.
Yeah. I wasn't so mad at those as much as I was. Okay, like there was the current season that's happening. I haven't seen any of it. The season before this, they kind of brought back The Walking Dead fun. But the season right before that, I swear to God, it could have been 2 episodes. That like 10 episodes. They could have literally. It was literally 2 episodes, bro. Like almost nothing was happening. Absolute nothing. But we were hooked on that. Then it was Game of Thrones, which I don't want to. It's a sad topic, Game of Thrones. I don't want to talk about that without spoilers. It's gonna be tough. You're not. You.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's why.
And I told you
your
right,
neutral reaction told me that already, bro. Because you would have been like, ah.
I don't know why I never.
But
got
is
into
that
it.
You'll
Game
like
of
it.
Thrones in general? Or is that last episode?
He has.
I haven't watched one episode.
Okay. I feel like that's unpopular.
Very.
In the beginning, I'm not a big fan. There's a genre that I'm not a big fan. When I like sci-fi, I like fantasy, but sometimes when there's too much dragons and things like that, I don't really. It's not one of the things that I really like, because I like a little bit more the reality world. I like movies that have like Train to Busan has a feel that it could have happened this way. It has that reality thing to it.
Sure.
And when the Game of Thrones started, I felt that it doesn't have the reality world, because I saw the dragons and things like that, and kind of I didn't watch it. But later on, a lot of people told me that it's not about that. There's something else. There's the whole different thing. But I was waiting kind of to finish it, and then maybe I will start watching it, so I could have I don't have to wait for any episode. But now when you're telling me the ending is so bad.
Right. No. Okay, look, it's disappointing for but again, like the ending of Lost wasn't that good either.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you still recommend?
Yes,
the hell
it's actually
out of
one of my
everybody?
favorite shows. Yeah.
So Lost is.
You're not
awesome,
gonna let
bro.
an ending like tarnish like the idea behind the
My
whole
whole family's hooked on Lost right now, by the way.
But
they're on it.
You
bro.
know, the ending of Lost, I don't care about it as much as because the way the story structure was put together in Lost, and the way they wrote the script, and how they brought all these characters together, is so well done. I think it's one of the best written TV shows ever.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I actually watched it twice from beginning to end. I watched it when it was on TV, and then I watched it when it wasn't on TV. It was on just Netflix, and I watched it. And a lot of things I didn't understand in the first time, because you watch a season, and then there's like almost 9 months of nothing to do with Lost, and then another season comes, and you forget a lot of things. But when you watch it after each other, all the episodes, understand more things are connected with each other that I didn't understand the first time that I watched it.
Now, did you like it enough to ever consider that you might ever do like a series? Have you ever considered maybe like directing a 2, 3, 4, 5 season series? Does it interest you in any way?
It does, but the topic, the story has to be a little bit something that I would like to tell. When directors do stuff that it's not their topic, it always kind of falls apart. If it's something that it's something that interests me, and something that I have a vision with it, and I could tell the story in an interesting way, yeah, definitely I would love to do something like that.
Yeah. Well, I wish the best of luck to you, bro. Thanks for bringing
Thank you.
originality to our people,
Thank
man.
you.
I hope
Thank
we
you.
keep them coming.
Thank
And
you.
thanks for coming out, bro. Looking
you for
forward to all your
inviting me.
future projects, bro.